Ron Barron, the billionaire investor known for being a Tesla Uber bull, has created two new funds that allow clients to invest in two of Elon Musk's private companies, SpaceX and xAI. This is a great way for Tesla investors who are interested in investing in Elon's private companies to get in. We'll cover more about these, how these are structured, and how much he charges. Ron says the reason he's doing this is because he wants his business to last for 100 years. We also have video of Bill Gates, the most famous Tesla short, being interviewed recently on his opinion about Elon Musk. And finally, as a bonus, we'll show you all the major short sellers who've lost billions betting against Tesla. Jim Chanos, David Einhorn, Gabe Hoffman, and four others. Ouch. All right, so we've got Larry Goldberg with us. He's a multi-entrepreneur. He's somebody who knows quite a bit about Ron Barron. You also invest in his funds, and you know quite a bit about these shorts as well. So thank you so much, Larry. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Herbert. It's great to be here.
Let's get to your favorite Tesla bull. And I agree with you. I think many people agree that Ron Barron is a great example of an investor. Long-term holds. He doesn't get swayed by the ups and downs like so many others are. Barron Capital is $4 billion, I think. I mean, obviously the number changes as the stock price, but significant amounts of Tesla shares and SpaceX shares. And so what he's done is he's created these funds, and he already has some in the past, so it's not new, but it's just additional versions of them that allows investors, anybody, to invest in these private companies, xAI and SpaceX. So they offer entry to these private startups. And, SpaceX, obviously, I think you're invested through his fund so you get access to SpaceX, and it's a private company. It's going to be a massive company. So he's setting up these partnerships that would permit clients to invest in two of the billionaires, Elon's private ventures. Nothing new here. To buy more shares. So soaring demand for the limited supply SpaceX and xAI shares has spawned a cottage industry in which Wall Street firms create these SPVs, these single-purpose vehicles, that charge stiff fees for the chance to invest in the company. But Barron is going to do something different. They're not going to charge you these stiff fees. So instead of these high compensation for that, they're going to raise. They think that it's enough to just raise their firm's profile, and then those clients will then later invest in other mutual funds. They're only going to charge a 1% management fee, and that will lock up investor capital for about 8 years. The fee falls by half should SpaceX or xAI become publicly traded. Typically, these annual management fees of 1 to 2%, along with performance fees equaling as much as 20% of profits. Yeah, it's what SPVs can do is pretty significant. So, what do you think, Larry?
Well, I'm invested in Ron Barron's Founders Fund, which has a fairly significant piece of Tesla and a fairly significant piece of SpaceX. So, but my investment in SpaceX is actually through a separate SPV. I have a direct investment in SpaceX, but my investment in Ron Barron's fund is really for my grandchildren, and it's so I wanted an investment that is a little bit less volatile, more liquid, and which is somewhat ameliorated by some other exposures. And that fund has done very, very well. We've had a down couple of years with the Tesla stock, but SpaceX has continued in an upwards climb, and all the other stocks in his portfolio have done very, very well. So that's been a very good investment for me. But he's absolutely right. I mean, my investments in all these private companies of Elon's is through a fund, a managed fund, because it's the only way you can really invest in them. And these guys take a piece of the action, and rightfully so, because that's their business. What Ron's planning to do is revolutionary, and Kathy Wood at ARK has done it as well. You can buy a piece of her private or the fund that invests in private startups, But then again, she has only a component of SpaceX and a component of Tesla, and then other funds. What Ron is going to offer is really special, and that is a direct investment in Tesla, in SpaceX, direct investment in xAI, and in those investments, he's only going to take 1%, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a buyer. I'm a buyer, and it'll reduce my dependency upon these private SPVs.
Well, you know what you're talking about because you're already invested in Ron Barron. You're studied it. You know what there's going on. So this is very interesting. And what he said here is very interesting. We're doing this because we want people to know about our mutual funds. So he thinks that it's a great way to market their company. I want my business to last for 100 years. Are you older? You're younger than him, right?
I'm younger than Ron Barron. He's the older. He's the guy I look up to. You know, I mean,
Your big brother.
He's not as old as Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
But I've never invested in Warren Buffett. But I've invested in Ron Barron. So it speaks. I mean, volumes about Ron. I have the highest regard for him, and he's one of the investors that I look to in terms of the value, the growth, the balance of growth and value that he does in his picks. Just amazing.
Yeah. All right, let's continue this, finish this story up. So in April, a fund devoted to SpaceX called Baron Cayman, they raised money from offshore investors, tax exempt. So he's got different versions of this. Baron xAI is investing $130 million in xAI's venture. This was through the May stock sale that everybody was aware of. A sister fund called Baron xAI Cayman also raised money offshore. So there's various versions of this. So he started his company in 1982 with just 10 million in capital. He managed for billionaire George Soros, and then he's somebody who former caddy. Yeah, one example is a stake in Charles Schwab, and then he invests in chief executives. That's his strategy, is finding really exceptional CEOs. So he did Steve Wynn. He's also done so that's his strategy.
Yeah, I'm very excited about what he's doing, and definitely will look to the, if he does a pure xAI and he does a pure SpaceX, that will be, a focus. That will be a focus I will have as well, okay. And that will be for my own account rather than my grandchildren's account.
Can you adopt me? You don't care. All right. So, okay. So let's talk Bill Gates. So Bill Gates has had a tiff and beef with Elon Musk, right? Bill tried to recruit Elon to give away his money for good causes. And then Elon asked him, but I heard that you are shorting Tesla, like billions of dollars shorting Tesla. So what a hypocritical thing for Bill Gates to be doing. And so they kind of had this falling out, or I don't know, just incredible that Bill Gates was shorting Tesla. So now every time he's being interviewed, and we'll watch this, everybody wants to ask him about Elon Musk. So let's listen to what he said this time around.
Leaders in the climate fight. One of the other people sort of most associated with green technology, of course, is Elon Musk. Do you talk to him much these days?
I've talked to Elon recently. We were at an event together called the Breakthrough Prize in LA. And I said hi to him, but Tesla's a huge contribution to driving the car industry towards electric.
And on Tesla, I mean, more than anyone else, Elon Musk, I think, has sort of shown that green technology and green solutions can be cool and exciting and worth buying. But are you disappointed that Elon doesn't really seem to talk much about climate these days? He's more interested in talking about culture wars and other issues.
He talks a lot. I hope he'll talk more about climate. He's very, very smart. He's made a contribution within that area that is super important.
What would you like him to talk, when he talks about climate, what would you like him to say?
I don't think he'll listen to anybody telling him what to talk about. So, he's unique, and he'll talk about whatever he feels like.
So the reporter seems to be trying to bait him, trying to say something, and then he just stayed high, stayed clear.
Tiptoeing around the subject, tiptoeing around the fact that Elon probably didn't really pass the time of day very warmly with him. He went to say hi.
Tried to say hi.
I mean, Elon is very angry at the short sellers, and he has every right to be. I mean, that company, Tesla, was very, very vulnerable, and the short sellers didn't help. Now, of course, the short sellers were responsible for the gigantic peak in the price when Tesla really started to succeed. Then the short sellers were left naked, terribly naked, and they lost billions of dollars. And were the cause of that spike. And nobody likes that spike, not even long-term investors or investors like that kind of spike. I mean, it's great to buy at the bottom and get out at the top of the spike. It's very difficult to do it, and it's also not very conducive to long-term rewards. So it doesn't do anybody any good, either to have short sellers or have spikes. Now, short sellers have a role to play, but the kind of role that they've played in Tesla have been destructive to them and to the company. And so it's not a very good situation. And I think that for a person of the stature of Bill Gates to engage in short selling against Tesla is unforgivable. And I do not blame Elon for not forgiving him, because for me, I can't. I mean, if you really believe in climate change, if you really believe that it's a critical problem for the Earth, the last thing you do is bet serious money against the leading climate change organization in the world. So, as far as I'm concerned, Bill Gates is, he is a faux person. I mean, actions speak much louder than words for me.
Okay. I'm looking for a quote from Elon just this last week, wasn't it? Where he said, I'm going to find it, but basically said, even Bill Gates will be obliterated. He's warning shorts. And I took that to mean that even somebody with Bill Gates, who is a billionaire, you could lose all your billions based on what's going to happen with humanoids and all that. So let me.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to lose all his billions. I don't even know if he's short any longer. But yeah, I don't want to make speeches anymore against Bill Gates. I mean, the guy's not worth it's not worth the time of day.
Okay. So let's cover all the other shorts. This is really fun. I really appreciated what this Pagey did. He put together many of the short sellers that got burned trying to short Tesla. Pagey, never bet against Tesla. And here's his thread. So Jim Chanos lost more than $527 million shorting Tesla. He later, just recently, this year, shut down his hedge fund. What do you know about Jim Chanos and what happened?
Well, I don't know how much he actually lost. If Pagey said he lost that, maybe he did, but I don't know how much it was. And I do know that he shut down his fund because of, long-term decline in the value, not just from Tesla, but clearly he's not a great trader. But I do fault Jim Chanos for spreading really, really vile stories about Tesla that turned out to be untrue and incorrect. And it's not so much stories, but the analysis that he did, was so seriously wrong that to have given him that megaphone at CNBC was just wrong. And it's wrong at many levels. I've already, spent a lot of hot air about how it's really bad for Bill Gates to have gone off like that. But really, I mean, short sellers who sell short for legitimate reasons and who mind their P's and Q's, that's fine. But short sellers who sell short and then go and take a megaphone like CNBC to talk down the company, and particularly when they use incorrect data, to me, that should be illegal. It probably is illegal. We just don't have, the people in the enforcement divisions of government that are interested in dealing with it. But it's terrible what he did, and I have no time for him or his press mouthpieces, because he had very strong connections with people at the Wall Street Journal and people at CNBC who were repeating the kind of nonsense that he was speaking.
Yeah. Well, he's shut down his hedge fund because of Tesla. He lost so much money. I don't know. It's very expensive to be a short of Tesla. So Elon, this is it. I did find it. So July 2nd, which is just a couple of weeks ago, he said, once Tesla fully solves autonomy and has Optimus in volume production, anyone still holding a short position will be obliterated, even Gates. So that is a warning.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fair warning. I'm not sure I would have done that warning. I think, it's best to let events speak for themselves. But I mean, he's right. I think he's right. Who am I to actually question what Elon says? But I think he's right. I think that, Optimus and FSD are going to be, and energy. I mean, the company has got so many cards in its deck. I mean,
I don't know why you short this
sitting
company.
there with this royal flush.
Yeah. Okay. So then we got David Einhorn, lost more than $8 billion shorting Tesla from 2016 to 2021. He kept just raising, doubling down. I did a show once with Alexandra Mertz, and she was tracking all the shorts, and this is crazy. Do you know this guy?
I mean, $8 billion. I mean, can you think about? Can you imagine the value, the good you could do with $8 billion? And can you imagine how well he would have done if he had invested in Tesla?
2016 to 2021. Yeah, that's when.
Wow.
Those are the big years.
That
What timing, eh? What timing?
That's $24 billion today.
Yeah. This guy named Gabe Hoffman lost over $100 million shorting Tesla in 2023.
Small change.
Gordon Johnson, I think he spelled that wrong. It's an O. Gordon Johnson. He just Pedgy just want to point out that he's not a short, but what he is he's a Tesla bear. He's often just saying things that are, that he knows that they're false. He's an analyst, and he's, anyways, his profit is
slick
down.
Talker. He's a slick talker.
Yeah. 97% in 2021 trying to short Tesla. I don't know if he was shorting Tesla. I don't know.
I don't think he was.
I don't think he was. Yeah.
I really don't.
But his style, and we've had him on many spaces as well, is he sounds smart because he will spit out facts, fact, and then he is like a word salad. He'll throw 4 facts out, and then he'll just keep talking. And then, but of course, these facts, they're all false. They're all kind of like, manipulated, and but then you don't have a chance to address one fact at a time because he just spits it all out at the same time. That's his style. So then he sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, and he's had a very, let's say, colored career. So he got into a little bit of trouble at, I think, Bear Stearns, one of those companies, and he had to. So he's had a very, very colored career.
And then we've got this guy named Andrew Laft, lost $1.1 billion shorting Tesla since 2018. Yeah,
I'm not sure where these numbers all come from, but let's stipulate that these are guys who published that they were short, who claimed that they were short, and at the worst possible times. And of course, it's not their money. It's not their money.
George Noble, unknown the exact amount lost, but stated that his fund was massacred in 2021 and the fund was terminated in 2023.
Yeah.
And you got this Mark Spiegel, of course, right?
Yeah, this number is wrong. He did not lose billions, and Peggy and I had a exchange about it. He never had billions. He never had hundreds of millions. He just broke something like 10 million, and most of it is his parents' money. He set himself up as a fund manager, and most of the money that was in that fund was owned by his parents. I hope his parents are still okay, because he lost a lot of money, a lot of that. So he never had anything like the kinds of money that these other fund managers had. But I know that at one point he had about 10 million in his fund. And, I have more money in Tesla than he has in his fund. So, I mean, it's a joke.
Well, let me ask you a question then, because I'm trying to understand, because a short, and I've seen this, Alexander Merch showed me kind of how it happens, but a short will short the Tesla stock because it's very volatile, because it's like overvalued. Absolutely, we agree. Certain times it's overvalued and it's froth. And then it promises a lot of future things that may not come or take longer to come. So I get it. But then what they'll do is when the stock rises, they double down because, oh my God, it's even higher. So which means that it's even more wrongly valued. Okay. But on the other side,
it's the same as a bull buying stock as it's falling and keeping buying it as it's falling. It's roughly the same. The only problem is that the question is, are they naked, and will they lose, boundless amount of money? The problem is that many of them are funds, and it's not their money. They can lose that kind of level of money. But typically, a fund manager would hedge at least a very large component of what they're investing. But some haven't, and some have lost their boots.
And what about the other side, Larry? Yeah. Why is it so they bet Tesla stock is going to short and it's going to fall, and it did. It fell from 400 all the way to 100. Then why don't they get out at that point? Like this Jim Chanos, like why did he wait until it bounced back up and then he, couldn't handle it?
It's very hard to tell. These guys have got the same level of conviction about Tesla being a fraud as we have about Tesla having great future. You'd have thought after 2018 that they would begin to realize. I mean, there was this thought, that, they will sell 300,000 Model 3s and that's it. And then that Model 3 will peak, and then Model Y will decimate Model 3 and it'll peak, and then that'll be that. And so there's this constant, and of course last year, sales declined. This year sales have declined. So they, perhaps they're back at it again. It's very hard. There's such a visceral hatred of Elon that as much as we admire him, they hate him. And so they're blinded by that hate, as probably we are blinded by our, admiration for Elon. So there's a little bit of this going on both sides. But when you short a company, wow, you got to have a lot of conviction and I think stupidity. If you're not hedging that bet, you're crazy.
Yeah. And just a quick comment on my side. Again, I don't understand. I'm wrong. But, why would you short a innovative company, a technology company? Because any moment they could invent something that, that is just crazily, and then they'll be like 1,000 times. I mean, because they've got those engineers, they've got those, that's what they do, so don't.
If you don't believe in innovation, then all that expense of innovation to you is a waste of money. And if you don't believe they're innovating in the right space, then all of that is a waste of money. There are people who are absolutely blind to, the opportunity. Look, there are people today who are talking about, EVs are going to go away. It's the end of the EV. I mean, I went on, I think it was on Yahoo. I went on Yahoo and the guy said, well, EV sales are falling. I said, no, they're not falling. I said, they may not be increasing at quite the rate they were before, and we may be going through a trough, but they're not falling. They didn't have me back on Yahoo. I mean, that's their choice. That's fine.
They'll have you back. Don't worry. You're
So
great.
all I'm trying to say is that people have conviction and they follow their conviction. And that's what makes a market. It's fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not fun being on the wrong side of it, but it is just the nature of it. Look, Warren Buffett wasn't prepared to invest in Tesla, but he did invest in BYD.
Yes, that's correct. Okay. Appreciate it. This is, we covered your favorite Ron Barron, Bill Gates, and then 7 shorts. So it was a good show. I appreciate your feedback and telling us colorful commentary about all of this. Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, Herbert.
Follow Larry on his X handle at Tesla Larry. See you soon. Bye-bye. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.